Well, a very good afternoon to you. Very excited now because I'm filling in for Michael Laws, who was filling in for Sean. So I've never spoken to this next guest, but she is a regular on the show. It is our Aussie correspondent, Australian friend, Jaqui Lane. Jaqui, hello.
Hi, how are you? I'm actually what they call a quasi, which is a New Zealand Australian.
Love it. All right. Before we start, because I can see you in your office, my producer, Kelly, was very excited because you have a Mr. Potato Head and a Minion sitting on your shelf, and she's a fan of both.
Yeah, I'm an absolute Minion, fanatic. I've been to all the movies several times. I've got a Minion backpack and a Minion water bottle, and it drives my adult son crazy.
Hey, and was I right? Are we allowed to now say Mr. Potato Head, or is it just Potato Head? I'm not allowed to give him a sex.
I think he's Mr. Potato Head. That's his name.
Well done, Jaqui. I like you. Hey, let's jump into this. There's some really good stuff here that I want to get obviously your thoughts on. Wow, Alan Jones. For those who don't know, Alan, sure you do. Veteran broadcaster, career spanning more than 35 years. He was called a shock jock. I hate that term, but anyway, what's happened, Jaqui?
So he's actually probably had a career of close to 50 years, and he's probably the most next to kind of John Laws, probably the most powerful broadcaster in the country for most of that time. If Alan Jones wasn't on your side, you could lose your job or lose your seat in Parliament or whatever. So earlier on this week, the police turned up at his apartment down in Sydney and arrested him on 28 counts of sexual assault and various other charges. So, look, there's been rumours for decades. And when you're the most powerful man in the country, they were just rumours, and they may well be rumours, but they are now going to be tested in court. So, huge news.
It is huge news. I mean, you're right. Over 50 years, he's 83 now. And, they say the warrant was executed in his luxury Sydney apartment at Circular Quay. I don't know, Jaqui, was he still working at 83? Or what's he been doing?
Well, there were some reports earlier on in the newspapers late last year, and at that point he retired. Ostensibly for health reasons. So he actually hasn't been on air for a year. But I think that he potentially knew what might be coming. Who knows? We'll soon find out.
Now, I know what we're going to talk about next. You and Michael have talked about a few times already, but two men wearing masks and hoodies have been captured on CCTV running from the scene of the eastern suburbs of Sydney, I gather, vandalism attack, set a ute on fire, damaged multiple cars, and also graffitied anti-Israel messages on a restaurant. Is it Matt Moran? Is he somebody? Were they targeting him, or what's going on?
Okay, so Matt Moran is kind of like a celebrity chef and has taken over. So I live in this area. I live about probably a kilometre from where all of this happened.
Yes.
So it's in my kind of local hood, if you like. And there's a restaurant in my local hood called the Chiswick, and Matt Moran runs it. And Matt's not Jewish; he just runs a really good restaurant. But there, in this part of the world, there is a significant Jewish community. There's some synagogues around here, so there's a reasonably large community here. There was, I think, something like 8 or 15 cars that were spray painted with various choice phrases, which are not repeatable on a radio station, and same slogans on a couple of apartment buildings, and the Chiswick restaurant had those phrases spray painted on their windows, and a car set alight. And interestingly, the Turkish embassy happens to be in this area, so it's in fact their CCTV CCT footage that has captured this, because typically there's not a lot of CCTV footage in a highly residential area.
No.
And interestingly, about 500 metres down the road from the restaurant is one of the main synagogues of this area, and they sure didn't go there because they would have known there was CCTV there.
Yes, cowards. So
Yeah,
we know there's been a lot of, anti-Jewish sentiment in the past. I mean, it's been kind of, rolling over. Has it been relatively quiet up until this latest event?
Look, I'm not sure quiet's the right word. It's certainly been more individual based rather than an event or activities like this. So this is pretty out there as far as our community goes. Both the pro-Jewish and pro-Palestine people, communities have marched, have had events, been pretty well managed. But for a couple of, for attacks on private property and in residential areas, that's pretty out of the box, even for here.
Yeah, it's pretty radical. Is it the Chiswick? Is he still open for business? I gather he is.
Look, I'm sure they are. The damage there was they spray painted on the windows, so I imagine that they'll be able to get it off pretty quickly. And it's just a local restaurant, in a nice garden. Our local village community, actually, we hold our Christmas fair there every year, and in fact it's due, and I'm part of that village community, and that fair is due to be held in a couple of weeks. So it's for the community, it's quite, I wouldn't say, well, it is unsettling, but it's the kind of reality in a way that we're in right here at the moment.
And Jaqui, I think about my little village, my community, and as you said, you're only a kilometre away and you use this restaurant, you know it well. It is unsettling, isn't it? Because, you're in the business of knowing what's going on. I talk about news every day. And then when it comes closer to home, suddenly you really notice it. You're like, oh, what? Just down the road from me? My restaurant? What? It has a different feel.
It's a very different feel. So it's everybody's taking it very seriously, which is the plus side of this, is that it's not acceptable, and the police are on it, and there's it's a awful way for a community to come together, but that's what's happening.
Yeah. Okay, Sydney could come to a standstill. Is it train drivers from this morning? Today it is? Going on strike till Sunday. Uh-oh.
Yeah, well, they've managed to avert it, but who knows for how long. So, so as I've said to Michael in the past, we've got fairly strong public sector unions and unions still in Australia, and the bus and the train drivers and all the rest of it are now kind of striking because they want higher wages, and also the state government here was planning to stop the 24-hour running of the trains, because they say that the tracks need maintenance, and so they have to shut down the train lines between 2 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the morning, and I kind of can't work out why the train drivers don't like that. Maybe they get paid extra money for doing nothing. I don't know. Anyway, so they've been pushing the Labor government here in New South Wales, and they were literally about to go on strike for 3 days. That's been averted, but for how long, who knows? Because you strike on a Friday and a Saturday here, and we've got millions of commuters who can't get to work or can't get to big concerts or sporting matches. So I don't think that's going to go away unless the government caves in and gives them a pay rise. So, and it's not just happening with the buses. I think the nurses were out last week and teachers the week before. So we're in a period of kind of pretty active industrial muscle going on here at the moment.
Yeah, I saw that both the union and the government said they were confident they can reach an agreement before Christmas, which I believe is only about 4 weeks away. So they better get their skates on, or you guys are stuck.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to happen. And the big thing is, and certainly here with cost of living pressures,
Yeah.
and also the pressures for wage increases. I mean, I read somewhere in the paper that if they, give the train drivers what they want, it's an extra $2 billion onto the state government's wages bill. So it's not an insubstantial amount of money in really in a still a relatively high inflation environment.
This last one, I want to get your thoughts on, Jaqui. It's been talked about here as well. You guys sneeze and we get the cold, but we think about, we kind of follow obviously what you're doing, and the question has been also asked here: should we be banning under 16-year-olds from social media, because that is what your government, Albanese's government, wants to do or is doing?
Okay, so I think the bill's going to pass today.
Oh, here we go, on it.